Live streaming is on.
Good morning, everyone.
Welcome. Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Oh, we made it. It's so dark. I haven't set up my lighting and my situation over here yet.
Yeah, busy week for you.
I haven't shaved in a month. Feels like, my God.
Oh, that's fun.
Me neither.
Me neither.
No, I did, but I could still not grow as much facial hair as you guys, even if I tried. Cool. So, guys, you made it. Cohort is at an end. We lost 2 people. Like I told you guys, Lou gave me a heads up. Unfortunately, he cannot make it today, but he will give everyone an update on Slack later, and I will walk through the slides for him.
Cool.
And Sasha, we are not sure about as of right now. He also did tell me actually yesterday that his back is starting to feel better, so that's great. I think he got a chiropractor adjustment a couple days ago. So that's good. So I hope it's not related to that, and I hope he didn't have another flare up or anything like that. But we are assuming that since there was a half a time change in the US, we went an hour forward, right? No, backward.
Spring forward.
Oh, I never know either. And Europe didn't yet. So Timo made it just in time. He just he remembered. Yeah. But we are thinking that Sasha might have gotten into the time zone trap. So I emailed him. Hopefully he'll show up. If not, we're now a couple minutes late. So if he shows up in an hour from now, he should be still a couple minutes into the live stream there. So we'll figure it out. All right. Yeah, I think let's just start walking through your guys' slides, and then we can do the demos and just talk about what's going on from here. So I'll share my screen. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
You got it.
Oopsie.
Oh.
All right. So we'll start with Timo.
Woo! Go Timo.
Oh,
good job.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna jump this quick actually. Sorry. Maybe just quickly, so that the format we have this time is slightly different than. Is my microphone okay? My computer's telling me it sounds weird. Yeah. Okay. Great. So it's slightly different than the last couple of check-ins, because today we're of course doing a recap on how the project went. The format is that all of you have done a self-assessment on if you think you were successful or unsuccessful with the criteria from the cohort, right? So of course, your project in your minds can still be a success. And actually, I think even though there might be a fail on some of those pages, I wouldn't technically consider that a fail, right? Like we talked about it last week. Just like I might actually change that. The word fail has just such a negative connotation to it. I think unsuccessful cohort or something might be better, because that's really all that is, right? Like, however, on the other hand, we talk about it a bunch of times too. We need to learn how to embrace failure and just get over it, right? Like, so maybe that's kind of how we choose to look at it. So fail, yes, but so what, right? Sometimes there's a good reason for it. Sometimes that just means we need to pivot. Sometimes this means that we're a day late, right? That's fine too. Sometimes, I mean, hell, that could cost you $1 million deal if you're a day late sometimes, right? So it is what it is, onward and forward, right? But we already saw the first one has a big heaping green sign there. So Timo, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, so with the self-assessment, I try to reevaluate the entire month. Basically, that's how long the cohort has been. And for me, I must say it was a big success. I was a little bit skeptical at first when I joined that cohort, because I I've done a couple of projects before, and I never really thought, yeah, I needed to change something, but I think the cohort here showed me, yeah, what it's all really about. And you can go to the next slides, and that's why I think my project was a success. First of all, I did all the cohort commitment. Like I tweeted every day, wrote a blog every week, and attended all the check-ins. I mean, attending the check-ins was the easiest part here. I really did not expect that tweeting every day would be so hard, because sometimes you're just sitting there and you don't want to repeat all the time, like because it gets boring real quick. And I try to like post every day something new, which is also true, of course, because I also don't want to lie in my tweets. So it's really hard to come up with these daily tweets. And the blog posts as well were a big let's say big struggle for me sometimes, because it took like up to 4 hours writing a blog post. Like if you just sit there, not considering the time you've put into it before a little bit, like by just writing some notes. And these are definitely things that I've underestimated, but I'm very proud that I made them. And for my own defined success criteria, I think they went very smoothly, actually. They went better than expected, because I had mostly technical success criteria, which is usually an area that I'm kind of familiar with. So, but I also know that when you develop some stuff, then sometimes it's not going as smoothly as expected. You run into a lot of bugs, or some things turn out to be more difficult than expected. So I'm very happy that I made all of my success criteria there, and like even more on top of that. And I will show that later a little bit in my demo. But yeah, so I think from that perspective, the project was a success. And I also think from a like general perspective, project is a success. So here's a little timeline of what I had planned. As you can see, I planned a couple of features like the character page and landmark page, artifacts, events, and so on. I renamed those a little bit, but in general, this is what I had planned for the cohort. And I must say, with in the first week, I made a huge step towards this goal already with the template builder, basically, that gave me the opportunity to focus on other things, because the template builder took care of all of that before, and that went super smooth, and I was super excited to get that done in the first week already. So and then in the second week, I just built out all the other features basically, and then from that I just built more things that I think might be useful to Plot Maniac, which gives me now the opportunity to, now you can go to the next slide, to continue with this project with an actually live deadline, which I have set for myself also. I want to be live with Plot Maniac by the end of April. And yeah, just looking back at the month before, I think that's definitely possible. It's still like around 1.5 months to go. And I decided to join a peer group after that cohort. And because I really liked that format, to be honest, it gave me the kick in the butt that I needed sometimes. And I really want to focus with everything that I've committed to this cohort. It includes like tweeting every day, writing a blog post every week, and like, of course, continue to the project. Working on the project. I still have to set up my, let's say, own success criteria now from week to week. I think that's how the peer group works, but I have to look into that a little bit more. And so I'm very confident that by the end of April, we can be live with with a working, let's say, product. It won't have all the features necessarily that I've envisioned for Plot Maniac, but it has, I think, a good starting set that people can begin and write their stories. I'm very excited about that. Yeah, that's
cool.
my side.
And you wanted to show a demo?
Yes, I can do that.
That's amazing, Timo. Really good job. What did you
Thank you.
I know at the very beginning, Timo, you were super skeptical about the tweeting daily thing. How did you find that overall engagement? Like what did you think about the tweeting situation?
It's lately it gets better, to be honest. I occasionally I tweet something that like some random people comment on, or yeah, where I just find engagement from people that that I don't see in my followers, or that I have no knowledge about, like overall. So I try to write them back or tweet them back or something like that. So it's getting slowly better. I have the feeling, because in the beginning it was nobody, I think, even read my tweets. And now I still try to find the right let's say scale here on what I tweet and how I tweet it, because I figured in the beginning, I mean, I was very new to Twitter, so I
Sure.
figured I just write some text and then people will read that eventually. But now I kind of discovered the power of those hashtags that everyone's talking about, so I start using them. And people from that follow those hashtags, or I don't even know if you can do that on Twitter, but somehow people reach me through
Yeah.
that, and that's very exciting, I must say.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to figure out how everything works, but I think I'm getting better at it. So overall I would say that's a good success here, because
That's great.
I would have never done it without that cohort, to be honest. I would have never
Sure.
tweeted about everything. But I like it. It's cool to let people know what's going on with Plot Maniac.
It is. It's really. I also Sven's talked about it on the show or on the live stream. I've also really enjoyed reading your blogs. I think you have a really powerful voice, and it's very clear, Timo, that you're a writer.
Thank you. Yeah, I never knew that, actually, because I never thought that like writing would be a skill of mine. In school, I was always more focused on like the mathematics stuff, and these were the subjects where I was pretty good at. And like writing in general, that always felt, in school at least, it felt like so heavy, you know. But maybe it was just because of the literature that you're forced to read there. It's not really, most of the time there are not things that interest me. But if you like really focus on things that you've interest in, then it goes smoother, I figured. So it's really nice. And but now I can show you a quick demo if you want.
Yeah, let's see it.
Please do.
Yeah, I'll share my screen real quick. So let me log out here. So because in my success criteria, of course I said a landing page should be up, and you all know my landing page by now, I hope. There is just one little detail that's different, is this sign in and also fancy animation like sign up form. And this is a functionality I've built now, so it works. I can sign in with Google, I can sign in with Facebook, and so on. I'll just use my Google account here, and then I'm successfully logged in. And you guys have to trust me on that. The sign up process works as well. So, and now I'm logged in, basically. And what I want now, and this is still a part I'm building, it was not the focus for this cohort, but I want now is like some sort of overview page where people can gather all the information they need in order to write a story. And this is still a very rudimentary setup here. But for example, you just see here like a little roadmap with tasks that you have to do. There will be a lot more, but for now it's like, for example, you need to start creating a story, okay? Because without a story, you cannot really use anything. I mean, it would make sense, that's what I figured at least, to use characters and locations and items if they're not connected to a story. So I wanted to make this the very first thing that a user's doing, kind of. So they just need to create a story, and that could be just as simple as giving it a title, for example. So I'll just do, I don't know, test, and then I have a story here which is called test, and then I can put this little activate button here. Is this? I got told today actually by a friend of mine that this is not very clear what this means. So I'm still reworking the UX here every time, but that's basically the idea. So same with the plot box templates. I was not quite sure where to put it, but that's basically what I have right now. So I have like humans for the plot box item characters, then I have like a city for the location and so on. And you will all see what that means. Of course, I can change some things here and I can see what is here about. So I can modify that template if I want. I can also delete it, but I'm not doing all that because I've prepared it for this demo here. Then of course, like in the story section here, I want to give the user a notepad to start writing their story, and this is still under heavy development. So right now, for example, I can only just save the title and not this text here. But this the reason behind this is that this editor section here is currently reworked by my teammate, and we will use a different library for that. So it doesn't make sense to build this functionality here if we change it later on anyways. And then we have like some sort of this story manager, which you saw last time, which is still, it's not the correct name, I would say, but it should give you like some sort of outline functionality for your overall story so that you can quickly navigate between elements and so on, which is very convenient for the writer, I think. So right now, this I showed last time already, it just catches the headlines, but there will be a lot more functionality, for example. So if I don't know, if I type something here and then I make another headline, for example, here. Yeah, it's just random text. Now it shows up here. And then if I, for example, click it, it will switch between it. And depending on how long the story is or how it will be organized, maybe it will be different views here, then it should be easy for the user to switch between these. And okay, but not to get too much into that. I just want to show real quick the character section, which is very empty here. But you can imagine, and that's something that I'm working on currently as well, like some sort of guide that guides you through each section. So for example, for the characters, there will be shown like what it's all about and how you get started. And how you actually get started is you click this little neat button here, and then the templates show up that you have previously created, or if you want to create a new one, you just click this button. But for the sake of this demo, I'll just click here, and then I'll just I don't know, I make a quick give it a name, for example, or let's say a title. I just say, yeah, you all know it already, so I'll stay with Santa and a nice guy who gives us, I don't know, presents, for example. Then this is saved automatically. This is maybe a little not very easy for the user to understand. I need to rework that as well. But if I go now back to the characters, it will show up here. And as you see, it's like an empty little template face here, because that's the reason behind that is because I haven't given a picture to this character. But I think from the last demos, and I think I can skip that for the sake of this demo now, you can also upload pictures. This is also a functionality that I've built. And for now, I limit it to 50 megabytes per user in general, like not per picture. This is just because, yeah, I want to save myself from poverty here. And the more people upload, the more expensive it gets for Plot Maniac. And since I'm not charging anyone, at least not as of now, I wanted to limit that to a, let's say, reasonable amount. I mean, picture is usually, let's say, 500 kilobytes between 1 megabyte, depending on what you upload. Of course, you can go as high as you want, but for most of the use cases, I think like smaller pictures make more sense. And yeah, the same goes basically for every element else. Like here, for example, I've created a city. I'm not doing that right now, but from the flow, it's very similar to what you've seen in the character section here. And so that works for all of these, let's say, 4 elements here. And that was the goal for this cohort. That's what I wanted to build. And now I'm trying to round up the functionality in a way that people can actually start using those elements, because right now they're just basically sheets on a site, on a paper kind of, and you can look at them, but you cannot really interact with them. And that's what I'm working on right now. I want to integrate them into a story. I want to connect them. I want to build a connector between those elements, because, for example, when I just created the demo elements here for the city, I was like, I'll show you what I have here. The mayor, for example, okay? Mayor of a city could be nice for his story to know that, or like a chief of a tribe or whatever, but this is just random text. It would be way nicer if I could connect this to a character that I've actually built, because then I can already see what's this character all about, because just from the text, it's still a little bit, let's say, complicated to manage, I would say. And that's a functionality I want to build now. Was not scope of this cohort, but yeah, these are like small little details that I'm working on, but I think it's going in a right direction. So yeah, and then for the sake of this demo, I don't want to stretch it too much. And
cool.
It's very cool, Timo. You've done really, really, really good work. I think that the long-term plan for this is super rad, and something that, I mean, somebody brought it up last week, I think. I keep thinking about how I could use something like this for my like advertising campaigns, right? How I'm building characters, building locations, having, for that specific thing, having a way to say, hey, this ad works really well for this audience. But I love this. This is super cool.
Thank you very much. Very, very nice to hear. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, awesome, Timo. Very good work. Moving on to Kyle.
Hey guys, sorry I am not on video today. I'm running all over in the meantime while I listen to you guys talk, trying to get my life organized. So in order to avoid any motion sickness or crazy distractions, I have left my camera off for the day. Anyway, all right, so let's get started. UnderDog sites. I would consider the cohort to be a success, definitely, for the most part. I mean, there are a couple of things that change throughout, so kind of a failure in that regard, but overall, like what my personal goal was when it came to utilizing the cohort and things like that, that was definitely a success. So I consider the overall project a success. So yeah, we'll move on to the next slide. I definitely thought I had the little check marks in there, but apparently not. So that's cool. That's what you get for editing on your phone. All right, the live website was supposed to be a green check, so that's cool. Presale beta test signups available. It's kind of a check and an X, because yes, they can sign up to be a beta tester, but I don't actually have any presale criteria in place at the moment, and they're not able to make a payment. And that's because I've kind of shifted things around, and we'll be working with people more on a one-on-one type basis for this. And how they might decide they want to use UnderDog sites might actually kind of change how we do any type of pre-sale type thing with them. The launch date determined, that is also a check and an X. Because I don't have a public beta launch date determined. However, I do have someone who I will be giving access to for them to use as a kind of like a pre-beta tester. So they'll be getting their own account, their own website to use and actually build their own site on. And they'll be giving me feedback on what works for them, what doesn't. And so I consider that part of success, because my big overall goal is actually getting other people to be able to use it. So it's a check and an X. The cohort commitments, those are all checks. So yay. The hardest part actually wasn't the tweeting every day. I thought that was going to be the hardest thing, because remembering to do a task every single day is so freaking hard for me. Like, I even set up this convoluted thing in ClickUp to automatically push out my tweets for me. So that way I saw it in my checklist until I got it done. But it turns out I didn't actually end up needing it after the first week. So that was great. Writing the blog post, I got it done every week, but it was always at the very last minute. And checking all the check-in events, that was easy. But I really wish that I had had more time to be able to attend like the coffee meetings and utilize like the Slack channels and things like that more. Unfortunately, I am just not great with juggling multiple social inputs. And it got a little bit overwhelming for me to add all of that into the mix. So I didn't utilize those as much as I probably would have liked.
Well, the good news on that is that you are now in the cohort, in the co-starting community forever. So you have a lot of time to get better at that.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's actually one of my long-term goals, is to kind of learn how to better juggle my time and my executive functioning skills in order to be able to participate in those types of things without feeling totally overwhelmed and frazzled by it. So I am looking forward to that moving forward. The timeline recap, most of that pretty much got done throughout, like the big overall goals for each week pretty much got done. They looked different than what I originally planned, but the purpose of each point was fulfilled. So I'm happy, if that makes sense. And then what's next for UnderDog sites? So I will be continuing to build out more dashboard pages, because the people that I have that are going to be utilizing it as like beta or pre-beta users need to be able to access those pages. So having that actual need to build the pages and not just kind of arbitrarily picking what I want to build for the day, that'll actually kind of be helpful. I'm going to add any additional extras like forms or whatever down the road. Again, right now, the big goal is to be able to have them build out their website pages. And if they need like a contact form or something like that, there are so many options out there and available for people that they can just embed in the site for now. And then we'll bring all that stuff in-house as time goes. I really did like the idea of offering UnderDog sites as a productized service for current clients. I hate doing website builds. I love them from the tech side, but I'm a terrible designer, and everybody only really cares about the design. So at least the people that I work with, because they want simpler sites, they don't really care about all the tech that goes in on the back end and making sure that things are functional long term and all that type of stuff. Like they just want their site to look pretty. So I think those types of people, hey, how's it going? Welcome back.
Guys, sorry, I was going by the old time. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, you are totally good. We were wondering if that might have been the case. So
Yeah.
good to have you here. But yeah, I'm just wrapping up my UnderDog site stuff. But you actually kind of came right in the middle, so you didn't miss too much. But cool. Yeah. So yeah, those people, I think, when appropriate, it'll actually make a lot of sense to use them as clients on my platform, because it'll give them a lower starting point as far as price range goes, and I'll be able to work out some deals with some people about maybe using their sites as a way to build out templates that I can offer to other people. So then I would like build their site and then kind of rearrange the template, the pages that I use for them, kind of white label them, for lack of a better phrase, and offer those white labeled versions up as templates for people to be able to build their own sites. So I think that that's a really cool idea. I'm going to be offering UnderDog sites up as a service for web designers who don't like to deal with the techie portions, for them to be able to host sites for themselves and their clients. And that's actually one of the people that I'm going to be working with moving forward and giving them access to. That's pretty much what their plan is to do, is to use it for a lot of their clients that they're wanting to, they're just getting started in the web design kind of industry. So I will be working with them on that, and that'll be kind of cool. That'll be great to be able to get some actual real life feedback. And then as far as like the social aspect, I think I kind of covered that a little bit already. I find it very difficult to juggle so many social interactions. So I'm not sure if I'm going to join more groups. I'm pretty happy with the number of groups that I'm in already, but I would like to learn to utilize them a little bit better. So that's kind of where I am. I am going to put a temporary pause until the middle of next month, building out any additional pages and things like that on UnderDog sites, because I have a lot of big personal projects that I have been keeping on the back burner for the last month because, like I've mentioned, I have a very hard time juggling large projects. And so I've got a couple of personal fires to put out, one of which is I'm going to be moving soon, and I would really like to pack before the night before, like I've done every other time. So
well, Chap should be able to help you with that problem. Like he just went through it. So
if you want some beta on that, let me know, man. Freaking A.
Yeah, any feedback or if you've got, magic packing templates or something, that would be fantastic.
Buy a big trailer.
Yeah, for real. I used our rerouted trailer for everything we did, and it made a huge difference. Speaking of that, thanks, Kyle. Good work.
Actually, one second. Kyle, did you want to show something? Do you have a demo, or should we just keep going forward?
You know what? I'll shoot you guys over. I'll shoot you guys over in Slack like a demo video later. I've got a couple of screenshots, but they're not organized in any kind of a way right now. They're all hiding in my downloads folder. So I will spare you the frustration of finding those and shoot you over a video in Slack later.
All right, fair enough. Okay, sorry for cutting you off there, Chap, but figured we have to ask.
Oh, man. Well, things went really well, I think, in general. One of the really interesting things we were talking about at the very beginning of this meeting was success versus failure. Speaking of juggling executive responsibilities, Kyle, that's something that I've been working really, really hard on and trying to figure out, what are the urgent needs? What are the immediate fires that need to get put out, and how can we continue to plan for the future? And I definitely, with everything else on my radar, I totally dropped the ball on a lot of this stuff. We weren't able to do a lot of the things that I had hoped to do. However, I saw a lot of really cool improvement from the rest of my team. And just before we get into it a little bit more, my demo, you guys should just go check out the website. Anybody that wants to see a demo, like our website has been live for a year now, and we're constantly iterating on it. So there's not really a good demo to show besides just what we keep putting out on the website and how we keep improving it. So, I dropped a ball on some of the little things on the cohort. However, the accountability of the cohort I felt was incredibly valuable to me, because I think without the pressure from the cohort, it would have been really easy for me to have dropped completely off grid for 2 weeks while I was working on this. So the ability for me to stay present, I think, has been really advantageous. You can go ahead and change the slides, Sven. Yeah, I mean, really the biggest change that happened was we went really deep into the crowdfunding studying as we were looking into it. And the biggest thing that we realized was that a platform like ours, nobody's doing a crowdfunding raise with a platform like ours. People are selling products. We really, really struggled to find a way to kind of jump the bridge between the two. And what we decided to do was we decided to simply really make a hard push for merch. And in order to do that, what we want to do is make sure that merch is really in line with the mission and vision, because we can't just go get a cheap pair of sunglasses, because that's very antithetical to the rerouted mission statement. The biggest area where I dropped the ball, you guys, was on my inventorying. I have so much gear that's not listed that I have in my possession that I really wanted to get listed before we moved. And my original plan was to move after the wedding. So I was planning to have all the inventory done before the end of the launch date. Instead, I spent the first 2 weeks of March doing all of my moving and was not able to do the inventory. However, we did really launch a campaign. We've got paid ads going. We're seeing a lot of growth, success. We rolled out a podcast marketing campaign. We rolled out a Instagram and Facebook marketing campaign. So we really did. We were able to launch a campaign in earnest, and we have three really high quality videos and a handful of other clips that are getting turned into videos. So we have a nice release schedule for some really high quality paid marketing. I was disappointed in myself because I'm usually pretty good at Twitter, but I would finish my days and fall asleep on the couch or eating dinner. There was not a lot of conscious thought that was going into extraneous things besides the immediate urgency of getting out of the house. But I was able to write a blog every week, and I did love these check-ins. I was grateful to get to do some of those virtual check-ins. I think that one of the, like I said earlier, the accountability of this cohort was really cool, and it meant a lot to be able to come share the wins, celebrate, and kind of, vent and talk about the struggles that I faced with all of you guys every week. I think that was a really cool aspect. It's one of those things that I wish that we could be doing this over a real cup of coffee in a coffee shop or hanging out in person, because it's so much more meaningful. And, Kyle, balancing the social interactions is so challenging over Zoom when we only see each other 2 hours a week and we're all 6 sitting here and only one person gets to talk at the same time. It's just so much more challenging. However, I thought I got to get to know you guys well, and that we really can continue to grow within the community. And I think that that's super cool. You can go ahead and change it, Sven. Yeah, so my week 1 and 2, super good. That was pre house move. It was week 3 and 4 where things really got distracted and really deviated on me. What I mentioned earlier though was it was really cool to see the rest of my team really pick up the slack and start filling in the gaps on some of the projects that I wasn't able to do. I think that one of the coolest moments of this was one of my teammates has really taken ownership over a number of different marketing relationships so that I'm not the point person anymore. And I think that that's exactly what I'm trying to accomplish in the long run, which is not be the point person for everything. Just give the thumbs up in a lot of situations. So even though I had to take a step back and I wasn't able to meet the cohort requirements exactly, what I did do is by moving, got capital for the business, put myself in a very, very good position to be successful for the long term, and have really been able to do a lot with the team and seen them grow a lot over the past month because I haven't been as involved. And so I think that there are a lot of wins, just not necessarily super in line with what I had set out to accomplish via the cohort, and that's okay. And I was thinking about the idea of success versus failure, and one of my mantras is strategy is sacrifice. And if you're going to have any sort of strategic plan, you have to be sacrificing other things. And so that's kind of, I felt very under the gun, and that strategy is sacrifice conversation, just trying to figure out what I can do to accelerate Rerouted the most it can be. This is totally a would do again. And it's the sort of thing where I want to do it and do it right again, instead of doing it the way I did it and, maybe plan with a little bit better foresight than Sven calling me and me just going, oh yeah, I'd love to do that right now in the middle of everything else that I'm doing. Could have probably been a little bit more savvy with that decision. And then what's next? We've got a lot. I get back from the wedding next Monday and we hit the ground running. We're going to be all in on the Scape Accelerator. Some of my team is moving out to Durango, still looking for investments, continuing to iterate on the platforms. And then we really have a big overhaul plan for that entire user experience, and we have a bunch of tech plays that we want to start implementing to continue to streamline the process. So we got a bunch of big things in the mix, and this was kind of a rebuilding month, moving month, getting things reset up to really hit the ground running start of next month. So you guys should be seeing a lot of really big things and exciting stuff coming from in the next month or two before the summer. That's really what I got. It's been a long month. Thanks for putting up with me, you guys. I know I haven't been as engaged as I normally am.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, Chap, I definitely feel the struggle. Not even having been, in your shoes, but from the outsides, I relate to struggling with with physical real world commitments, right? Like I think it's one thing, at least that's how it always felt for me. If you have a lot to do, different things on the computer, like multitasking kind of is easier. But if you just actually have to run around in the real world, like driving hundreds of miles in your situation, it's a whole different ballgame, right? And let's also be honest, sometimes like we are very privileged, right, to be able to do what we do online for the most part. It's a pretty easy job. Like it's not simple, right? But like we have it easy in a lot of ways. So let's take a second here and appreciate the people in the world who do not have that privilege.
Yeah.
And remember that kind of sometimes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say, Sven, that's a great point. Like the hardest part about the whole thing was that I probably spent 40 hours on the road this month. Right? Like that is brutal. Out of service, 40 hours on the road, can't do anything else except for listen to podcasts. So it's just, that was the biggest barrier. If you're moving from one place to another and you're not in the car for 40 hours, it's a little bit of a different story. It's still hard to move, but the 40 hours of drive time plus no service is brutal.
Yeah, and even if you have service, I remember one of my previous companies, the very early stages, we would drive a lot between cities. We had deployments in multiple cities, and we always used to say that, we can't wait for the time where we're successful enough that we can hire a driver and then actually work while we're driving,
Yeah. Yep.
But again, very entitled way of thinking. So we'll make it work, right? So that's the beauty of it. Like that's what an entrepreneur does. Life gets in the way. That is what it is. Stuff happens. Shit comes up. It's your job to make it work, no matter what. And you do, right? You did. So thanks. Awesome. Cool. Sasha, thanks for joining us. So don't worry. We figured it was probably the time change. Whoever is supposed to keep track of that, if half the world changes an hour before the other half, no, not an hour, a week before by an hour. Who knows?
Yeah, sorry about that. I feel kind of dumb, but I was resting and I was planning to hop up at the usual time in my time zone, and yeah, America switched the time like yesterday, and we are switching it in 2 weeks, and sorry about that.
No worries at all. All right, so tell us about how you did your self-assessment.
I don't know if I probably missed the format. Do I have to do I have?
Yeah, just talk through. Sorry, you did miss that in the beginning, but basically just give us an overview on how you kind of filled it out, how you assessed it, right? So we talked about, success and failure. Even though there's a big red fail sign here now, that doesn't necessarily mean for you, I would assume, that the project's a failure, right? Like this fail here simply means, in the eyes of the cohort, you apparently came to the self-assessment that you didn't make something, right? So just kind of walk us through your thought process with this in the next slide, and then we'll look a little bit at, how did the 4 weeks go, and where is it going from here?
Yeah, okay. So for at the beginning of the cohort, we all made some promises what we will do for us to say that the cohort was a success, at least the self-assessment part. And for me, I failed on the number of trial signups. But as you said, I will not say for me personally that this endeavor was a fail, especially taking it into account that for the previous 2 weeks I was almost doing nothing because of my back problems. So for me personally, it was a success, but for this cohort, it was a fail. But that is totally fine for me. I also didn't didn't tweet every day. So basically, I wanted Live Speech is fairly simple service, and during the cohort, I wanted to just make it from scratch, make it live, and also gain some registrations. But I've just, I don't know, during the previous week, I also didn't put my work. I only posted posted about the service for the first time. I posted in one Reddit group and on Hacker News, and I got some signups and some first feedback. But I also didn't want to push it. I'm still like recovering from my back, and I was just in a mindset that I'll just recover from that and then get back to serious work, and that was totally fine with me. This failure is like not a failure that I didn't put work and I was able. It was just, I don't know, life gets in the way sometimes. So I can literally copy what Chap said for most for most of what he said. It's the same with me. So for the first 2 weeks, everything went great as planned. I implemented what I wanted, and then I got into the medical problems. And during the last 2 weeks, I don't know, worked very little. Put maybe a few hours per week in the past 2 weeks. During the week 3, I just managed to wrap the work of the first 2 weeks and publish the project. But I didn't post anywhere. I was not in the mindset of posting and doing that while I was in pain. So in the week 4, I just wanted to post in a few places, and I did that. And without this cohort, I think I would not even do that. But I would just, I just wanted to like have the project live. That was the cohort was the motivation to do that. And yeah, from now on, when I recover, I will just try to continue with marketing and continue with trying to get feedback from users, getting trial signups, and trying to find a fit with some market for the service. That's the next plan.
That's awesome. I mean, that seems to, even though you had very limited time because of your injury to work on it, like even just posting it in 2 groups has resulted in some trial signups, right? That is a really good signal, I think.
We'll see. Yeah, for me, yeah, I find it okay, but I have to work on it more, and we'll see.
Cool. Do you have anything to show, or no major improvement over?
You can just go to the website and sign up.
I think I did. If I didn't yet, I will. I definitely want to be part of the at the very least, the beta stage or the testing stage. Curious to see how you're gonna implement it.
livemanswitch.com. So that's
awesome. Great. Yeah. So again, I'll hope your back continues to feel better, so you can make some more progress. I know it's tough if you're physically not 100%, then that inevitably takes a mental toll. And I think you did exactly the right thing. Get better first, and then focus back on work, because it's not helping you if you're putting a mental strain on yourself while you're in physical pain. So I think no one should ever hold that against you.
Thanks.
Okay, great. So like we said in the beginning, unfortunately, Lou couldn't make it today, but he has empowered me to walk through his slides real quick and give a brief update. If you guys are interested, anyone who's watching, or you guys here on the call, of course, in any more details, reach out to him. You have his contact, and then his website is, of course, live, and you can reach out. So from the self-assessment, I cannot do the self-assessment for him. So we have both colors here. It's somewhere in between, maybe, I don't know, orange, or what's red and green? Yellow, I guess. Something like that. But he did fill in the check marks. So his community is live. I think he went live last Monday, if I remember correctly. He, as far as I know, he onboarded a couple of people already, sent out the invites to his pre-signups. and got them in the community. What I would have been curious about, and hopefully maybe we'll get an update from him, asynchronously, on how the early interactions are going in the community, right? That's what it's all about. I think we also heard last week that he changed his business model, right, or his approach to make it a free community for now. Therefore, he didn't reach the 10 paid members, which was one of his success criteria. But again, once again, like we saw in other examples, I would venture to say he probably considers it still a success because he is getting early validation and has realized that maybe in the beginning it's just more beneficial to keep it free, right? So learning over, literal requirements. And here you see, it's all relative in a cohort like this, right? But he did tweet, blog, and joined all the check-ins. Well, I have to assume that check mark has been set there before the day of today arrived. But we'll let that slide, I guess. I'm not going to go over the timeline here. I'll let this sit here for a minute and just, if anyone wants to read it, pause the stream here on YouTube, and you can look into it. But I do know that, again, like some of you, he had some difficulty in struggling all of the other commitments, as well as this cohort. Life gets in the way. Other, business commitments get in the way sometimes. So that's just a normal cycle. But he is continuing with it. So it is life. I think he still wants to see it through. And I believe also that echoes kind of his voice throughout the cohort. As far as I heard him speak about it, that is a passion project for him, right? If it becomes a revenue driving project or not is unclear as of now. But I think he sees this as a community which would be beneficial for humanity to exist, and therefore I'm glad that he is continuing with it. Hopefully he can get some product market fit in a way, and we'll see where it goes. Hopefully we can check in with him in a couple of weeks and get an update. And that is all, my friends. All from the slides anyway. I just mentioned it. What we did with cohort 1, we scheduled a 2-week check-in. So Kyle already mentioned it. He's kind of freezing the project for now. I think Chap probably is going to take a breather as well and arrive in the new home and get everything lined up. Although you don't have the liberty to freeze your project because, well, it's your company. But if you guys are open to it, we could schedule a follow-up in 2, maybe 3 weeks from now or something like that, and see how everyone is doing.
I'd love that. I was laughing and thinking to myself, it would be sweet if there's just a pause button, huh, Sven? Like, can I just pause the whole company? Like, everybody just hold on for 2 weeks. That's all I need. Just freeze it.
I mean, you can. The question is if your employees are going to stay and if you can handle the income freeze as well, right? Because for the most part, or not only are we doing this for fun, right? Primarily, we are doing it for fun. But we are also hoping that there's at some point some paycheck probably associated with our projects.
One day, we'll be making money. No, Sven, I'm planning, like I said, I'm planning on hitting the ground running a week from today after we're married. So whenever you guys want to reschedule and re-meet, I'll make it happen.
Yeah, and I'm definitely up for meeting up again as well. I think, especially knowing that it'll be in a couple of weeks, it'll kind of keep me in my timeline of not pausing forever. So that I think that'll actually be pretty beneficial.
Great. Okay, I'll get that on your calendars. Cal, I was going to ask you, we have a couple more minutes, I think, since we started a little bit late. If you have other responsibilities you need to drop off, that's cool. But I did want to ask you if there's anything, you think you could benefit from. You said you had a hard time juggling the social commitments. Are there, is it just the amount, or is there any format or framework which you think could help, or how are you trying to tackle it, I guess?
That's actually something that I am trying to figure out across the board right now. I have been hitting my head against a wall for probably the 8 years that I've been online in business, and trying to figure out why the heck I get burnt out so fast. And I only just put the pieces together last week, so it's a fairly new discovery. So stay tuned.
That's good. That's good. You're on track then.
Yeah,
it's a hard one, right? I think. I mean, I certainly don't have the answer, and I think it's a very individual thing. But you should probably join not a community, right? I mean, that seems like a really good kind of framework to talk about these things, right? Because sometimes we get lost in being very transactional. Certainly, this cohort with all of the requirements, very transactional, right? But all of the surrounding stuff is as important, if not more important, sometimes to just have balance on, right? So very much encourage you to think about that. Or again, certainly from my side, if you ever want to just bitch about it for a little bit, call me up. I'm here.
All right, thanks. I appreciate that. And thank you for reminding me that it is 9 o'clock and I need to get going.
Bye.
There you go.
Right, bye-bye.
Awesome. Thanks, Kyle. Okay. Great. Anything else? Any last parting words from you guys?
No, like I said, Sven, I want to win. I want to do it again, and I want to do it right. Right? Like, that's a really cool feature of what happened for me. Was I was sitting there last night, I was thinking about it. I was like, man, I don't know if I could have done anything more to really achieve that criteria considering all the circumstances, but I would like to do it again with better foresight and planning and less distractions and really be able to focus on it. And I'm really excited that you guys are still going to be in that Slack community, and I'm still going to have that opportunity to reach out to you guys and to continue to connect and grow and learn. It was disappointing, but disappointing in a good way, right? It wasn't, I don't like feel bad about myself, but I'm disappointed that I wasn't able to do what I thought I could do. And I'd like to go back and do it again and prove that, I can, and I'd like to do what I set out to do.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, certainly, obviously, there is always the opportunity to join a future cohort, right? Whenever you're ready, let me know. And then Timo, we heard say that he is joining a peer group, right? So we have not, there is no official public peer group, pillar to CoStarting yet, but we have started the first peer group, which is the 4 members from the first cohort actually bound together in a peer group. They have a very similar structure. They meet once a week. You set your own criteria week over week. You set your own goals week over week. And Timo has decided to join that. If anyone else is interested in, having some structure like that on a continuing basis, let me know. I think this peer group is probably full now. We would have to ask them. So the group is more or less self-organizing at this point, and they also have to kind of vote on members to join, just so it's mutually beneficial. It's of course now the group's commitment to each other. That particular group actually decided to live stream their events as well, which is great. I appreciate that. That helps me to build more knowledge in the CoStarting community. But again, not a requirement. So again, chat, Sasha, let me know. Kyle, Lou, you're out there. Let me know if that's of any interest anytime in the future or tomorrow, and we'll make it happen.
Give me 2 weeks and then we'll revisit. That's what I need right now. I need to go get married and then catch back up. I am so buried, you guys. I have 400 emails sitting across my inboxes. Wow. I'm trying to play catch up every moment that I get, and I just can't get there.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, I just want to say it's been amazing with you guys. Really,
yeah.
I really appreciate the setup here.
Me
helped
too.
me a lot with my project. Also, seeing some of your ideas and how you work. It's really helpful, I think, and also the ability to get feedback anytime. Really nice. Thank you again, Chep, for helping me with that feedback form and stuff.
Hopefully it works. And hopefully you get
as of now, it did not work as intended, but I think that's mostly my fault. So yeah, I'll improve on that. But I think, yeah, in general, it's been a very nice time with you guys, and be nice to see you back in 2 weeks and see how everything's going for you.
I'll definitely do it once more sometime in the future, definitely. So with another project. So
Cool.
leave me a spot.
It's good to see you.
4 or 5.
It's good to see you sitting up, Sasha, and not in bed.
Yeah.
I'm sitting just like for this half an hour, and I'm resting my back on something, and I will go back to bed right after. I saw a chiropractor like 2 days ago, and he helped me, so pain is starting to subside. So I guess in a week or 2 it will be okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed for your continued recovery. And thanks so much, guys. It was a blast. Like I said, this is not the end. This is still just the beginning of all of your journey. So stay engaged, help each other, and you know where to find me. I'm always here.
Thanks, guys.
All right.